What's going on, man? You know where it is. It's Aaron the Trucking Guy. We on Trucking No Bullshit podcast. We got a special guest with us today. We appreciate his time that he's donating to come over here and talk to us and kind of give us the rundown on what it's like to do some RGN stuff, some hotshot stuff, and just be in the game, man. Very inspirational person. Him and his dad, him and his family. Inspiration to me, anyway. I love watching the journey and the genuineness and seeing y'all show everything, the struggles, the in the middles, the whole nine. But anyway, go ahead and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you at, man, what you got going on, and your background, if you would mind.
What's going on, man? Hotshot Bennii. I am 26 years old in the truck industry right now. Been in the truck industry for the past 6 years, going on 6 years. Start off in the hotshot. Um, I got into the hotshot through my dad. He was doing it before me. I tapped into him because I was a youngster. I didn't go to college. I didn't do nothing like that. And I was going through a whole bunch of stuff with my girlfriend and whatnot. And my dad said, "Hey, man, basically come into the hot shot with me," and stepped into the hot shot with him. And I figured I'd pick up a camera. I started recording some videos, got a little popularity off of it because hot shot was a thing, it was a niche. And we graduated to the semi, and then we did flatbed for a little bit. Then we did step deck. And then I had the brilliant idea to go get an RGN. And then now here I am in the RGN, I think 5 years later. Yeah, 5 years later.
Nice, nice. That's the big step, bro. Like me and you both started in the same industry. I don't know if you know that or know much about me with the fleet status. I know we kind of just linked up here recently this year, but I started in the hotshot game. And
Oh, I
I
didn't
did
know
that
that.
for a long time. Yeah, yeah. I actually drove a hotshot truck for like 3 years before I got into getting out of it and getting the fleet and the whole nine yards. But I'm always gonna have kind of a soft spot for hotshot because it's where I came from, and it's what
Right.
got me into the industry. But one of the questions I did want to ask too is what inspired and this is gonna be like a two-part question because had your dad not got into it, you probably wouldn't have got into it, right? It's the way the universe works. So two-part question: what inspired you to get into it? And obviously, maybe you probably gonna fall back on, hey, my dad was doing it, so it just that way. But whatever. I want to see your perspective on that. But then, if you wouldn't mind sharing, like how your dad got into it or how y'all got into it all together.
Okay, so overall, to answer that first question, I think even if my dad didn't get into trucking, I think I would eventually have found it. To go back to what I was talking about, I was working at Coca-Cola and I was trying to apply to be the yard jockey. I was trying to get into the yard jockey position. And I always had an interest for just anything that was involving a steering wheel and pedals. You know what I mean? So I would eventually found it. Now, my dad, he was working for Publix, and he was like a real big. I think he was like a supervisor or something like that. He was a big dude on campus, and on the side as a hustle, he used to sell cars. He had a dealership license. He had a small dealership, actual location, and everything. He used to sell cars. So these guys who were doing like delivery, let's say if you buy a car from up in New York or something, right? He would have them delivered to him, and he started realizing that, man, these guys are bringing these cars to me on these pickup trucks in these small little trailers, and that was his first glimpse of what transportation was. And eventually, over time, he quit his job, and he didn't want to do the car dealership no more, and he wanted to figure out what he wanted to do next. And he said, "Hey, man, let me go take a shot at this hot shot thing. I didn't know you could carry a flatbed. I just knew the car haulers." So he went for the hot shot. But like most people do, he didn't go out there and go do it himself. He got his CDL, took the course, got all this stuff right, but he put a driver in the truck. The driver was on the road the first day. The driver broke down up on Tennessee Mountain because he got an old truck, an old trailer. He broke down the very first day. So I had to call off work, pick up my dad, and then take my dad all the way up to Tennessee. And then my dad basically stayed with the driver, and they did that trip together. And that was his first taste of it. Then he realized that I was paying the driver too much. So he said, I'm gonna do it myself. So he did it himself. Come along a year or two later, the same or in that moment I was in a relationship. I went through a horrible breakup. Me being young and not really experiencing life all the way yet. I went through a terrible breakup. It tore me up inside because I just felt like I haven't experienced the world yet. You know what I mean? So I was just really in a strong depression. And I got in the truck with my dad. I quit my job, got in the truck with my dad. I said, man, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be with you. And I guess a year goes by. I mean, I'm getting training. I mean, I'm getting front seat access to, securement, all different things like that. Um, what else? He's teaching me how to drive along the way. When we go to truck stops, we're backing up. I'm getting practice and stuff like that. And eventually, I go get my CDL. I get my own truck, and then boom, I'm in trucking. And from there on, I just fell in love with it because it brought me out of that depression and made me into who I am now. And like you said before, I have a lot of I guess a soft spot for Hotshot. I have a real strong soft spot for it. So I know a lot of people say if you would start over what you started in Hotshot, I will always go back and start in a Hotshot if I had to start everything all over.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. I'm like, they're like, a lot of guys call me and they'll be like, man, I'm done with Hot Shot. Screw Hot Shot, this, that, whatever. And I'm like, man, don't sleep on Hot Shot because that's half my fleet, and I'm always going to be recruiting Hot Shot guys and growing a Hot Shot business. I wish it didn't have some of the limitations. The biggest one being that the DOT's always got a target on your back, and they don't have that on semis. But it's just part of the game you got to deal with.
Yeah,
That's funny though that you said car lot because that's actually was our background too, was construction. But I had a car dealership for like the last 10 years. I actually just closed it when COVID happened because we just couldn't buy the cars at the auctions and stuff and get them a good deal on them. So we closed it. But I even had one here. I've been in Florida about 6 years, and I've had one here and back home. We had one about 10 years back home and about 3 or 4 years here. But it's funny that's kind of the same kind of concept. I was in construction and I was working on somebody's house in the wintertime. Work gets real slow up north because you can't do much because of the weather. So everybody's staying inside, staying warm. So I was working on a guy's house who was doing Hot Shot, and I had a dually already, a couple of them actually pulling my dump trailers because I specialized in roofing. And we do the pull-offs in the dump trailers. And I was telling him how I was slow. And he's like, man, why don't you do what I do? You got the trucks, let's go get a trailer. And I was like, I'll look into that, and that's kind of serendipity. Happened what happened.
Yeah, it kind of just falls into your lap, man, honestly.
It just falls into your lap like that, man. So your dad just went full throttle, or has he still got the same businesses and stuff, or he just went full into trucking?
He just went full into trucking.
So both of y'all just dump what you had, went all the way in, burn the bridges, full blast. Now look at you guys is balling in it now, man. I love it. Y'all are inspirational, man. To me, I know for a lot of people, man, and you even to come out of the YouTube stuff and the TikTok stuff and everything. You really hit that hard, and that takes, like, when we were talking when we met up at Matt's, you were like, I was like, man, give me some advice because I'm not on that level yet. I've been doing it a long time, oddly enough, but I haven't had anything hit. And it's like you were like, man, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to do those videos when you're not comfortable, when you're doing something you want to do different.
Yeah, I was there doing something. I was there doing a video that I wasn't comfortable with. I had to be in front of everybody and just put on Hotshot Bennii and be energetic and stuff, and I just wasn't used to that. That was a whole different level of getting out of my comfort zone for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that really is the key to just growing on social media. Or just, if you want to grow on social media, I connect with somebody. You know what I mean? I always tell people there's 1 million followers or 1 million subscribers for every single person out there.
Yeah, that's the way I see it too. It's just, even when I first started being shy, making the videos, I talked about the same thing with Alex Toe Piglet and a lot of guys that I've had on the podcast. And they're like, man, when I first started, I think Alex even told me, he was like, I didn't even show my face for like the first month video. And I did like 20 some videos and didn't show my face because I was nervous. And you jumped into it, and I can tell when you started to now, it's totally different. And it's like, I think you got to get those first 100 videos or whatever out your system, and then you just don't care. You're like, I don't even care if I got that booger, whatever, man, I'm good,
You feel me? Yeah, you just gotta do it.
So to kind of circle back to that, can you kind of throw out there? So we kind of talked about how y'all got into it. Can you throw out like one of your biggest challenges thus far? Because you guys been in the game now a little minute. It ain't been overnight. Y'all been, I've been probably following y'all for, man, I don't know. I bet you ever been since like COVID range. I think is when I like found y'all on TikTok or something. So you've been grinding it out all the way to this, the big boy stuff now. But what's been the big challenges that you had? Just one scenario.
Big challenges that we've had. What is one of the biggest challenges we had? I guess when it comes to finding the right equipment, like moving to making the next step. So we've grown so fast from Hot Shot to flatbed and step deck to RGN, and going from pickup truck to semi. It's always been the most challenging part is always deciding on what we should go get next. Do we even need it right now? The RGN was a big challenge because it was like 3 months, 4 months of us going back and forth about what we should get, what we should be trying to get, getting information. So I think our biggest challenge in the company with me and my dad has always been the next step. Like, what is the next growth step? Should we even grow right now? Should we just wait another 6 months and then do something else? That's always been our biggest challenge. Anything else that comes with it, like the dispatching or the driving or all that stuff, comes naturally because we love what we do. Um, the business side comes naturally because my girlfriend, she loves what she does. So all that back office stuff is kind of natural. But the hardest decisions has been like, what's next? Like, because enough is never going to be enough for us. I tapped into the RGN now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm already looking at 13 axles. I'm already trying to learn how much they're gonna cost. Which one should I get? Should I go used?
Yep.
Should I go old? Or I mean, should I go new? Is it worth it going new? Am I gonna be able to get the work? So enough sometimes is never enough for me, and it's sad to say, like, I got the silos now. I'm doing the silos, and I'm like, okay, I did the silos. When am I gonna get something else now? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's cool. I'm still doing them, but and I appreciate them. I still want them, but it's like my mind is like, it's always evolution, 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 evolution. So that's been my biggest challenge, is figuring out what step to go to next, or should I even go at all?
Yeah, that is definitely one thing that I love about y'all, man. And it seems like you and your dad, man, are meticulous about thinking out the plan and really looking at it from all angles, and not over leveraging yourself and not jumping into something that you can't handle. And even like we're talking with your dad, and he was just like, patience. It seems like that's what we got to have to do this the right way,
Yep.
is patience. And that kind of reminded myself of, like, because I almost put myself out of business, like, I can't even tell you how many times, man. 100. Just trying to move too quick. One to grow, one to get more trucks, one to buy more trucks, buy more trailers, do this, and there's just no. And I talk about this all the time too. And I'm sure you've heard it because you're out there talking to the guys in the truck stops, the older cats, at the mats and stuff that have fleets. And I've asked every one of them when I go to these conferences and seminars and stuff, insurance deals. I asked the guys that have 3, 4, 500 trucks, man, what's it take to be at that level? And every single one of them, man, tells me it takes time. There is no shortcut. It just takes time.
Yeah.
If you do the right things long enough, it takes 30, 40 years and you'll have the 500 trucks. None of these guys are overnight successes. Every one of us been in the game 20, 30
Yep.
years. And that's
Yep.
what nobody wants to hear. Everybody wants the quick sauce right now. What's the magic pill I can take to be a big trucking guru? And it just don't work.
Yep.
What are some key lessons? And I know we've all learned. I mean, man, we can sit here all day and talk about what are some key lessons that y'all have taken away that over the last 2 or 3 years, y'all just getting into the game really heavy on the going into semis and things like that. What are the key takeaways? Like 3 of them, if you wouldn't mind, that you can really remember. Like, whether it's DOT compliance, finance, maintenance in the truck. Just 3 takeaways really that are key lessons that you have to implement, or that you'd recommend, whoever's looking at this to be like, okay, I got to do that.
Okay. Key lesson is learn your equipment. I think learning your equipment. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're doing trucking and you have a trucking company, you have to learn your equipment. Meaning not just how they operate and what they're used for, whatever, how to maintain them, how to keep up with them. Like, what's the breaking point? If you got a hot shot trailer, do you need to be putting the max payload on that trailer? Learning how to distribute the weight on your trailer, stuff like that. Those things can take you a long way, because a lot of people make fun of big techs when I had my big techs, but my big techs never gave me any issues. A lot of people
Yeah.
say, man, Diamond C is the way to go. Diamond C is the way to go. It can handle all the weight. On my big techs, I put probably no more than 13,000 pounds on my big techs, and my big techs sold it like it was brand spanking new. All you had to do
Yeah.
was get a new paint job on it. So that's definitely one. 2 is save and spend your money. Meaning, you don't need to be going out there buying shoes, Jordans, a whole bunch of nice clothes because you got $10,000, $20,000 sitting in the bank. Oh, I can go do this. Let me go party a little bit. Um, if anything, you need to spend a lot of that money back into your business. You know what I mean? Stock up on new equipment, stock up on stuff that you know is going to go bad down the line. Um, just spending your money in that way. You got to put all your money back into the business. Pay yourself and put it back into the business. And another third takeaway or lesson I would say that we have definitely learned is what's another third one? I mean, those are the 2 major ones that I really know off the top of my dome. The third one is I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you got a good third one? I mean,
Man, I
I
don't
can't
know.
really
I mean,
think of one.
I would say just, to reiterate what you said, man, is know your equipment And I'll give you a quick story. I talked to an old man one time, sitting. You know how it is, man. You sit down at the truck stop diner, and there'll be an old guy pull up. What's up, youngster? This, that, whatever, you know. And he
Uh-huh.
told me we sat there and talked for like 3 hours, man. And I used to love those conversations talking to the old heads out there. But he was like, "Listen, you know you're gonna need an alternator. Buy one now. Put it under the
There you
bunk.
go.
You know what I
Yep.
mean?" He said, "You know you finna need tires next year. Go ahead and buy them now. Have them at the house. When you go back in and you know how much life you got left in your tires, just change them all. You know what I mean?"
Yep.
And he told me, "Hey, man, you know you're gonna need a starter. Starters aren't expensive. Rather than trying to get one on the road and do this and that in the middle of the night when it went down and have some guy come out, put the starter under the bunk in the bed. And when they come out, I got the part right here. Just put it on, and then when
Right.
that one, get you another one because those are consumable parts that go bad all the time. And it just stuff like that. And he'd been out there like 45 years, man. And he was telling me, the where to put your money. And he had an old Freightliner Cascadia. Said he's had, 30 trucks, and he always Detroits. And he was a big Detroit guy. And he was like, "Listen, man, you buy your Detroit, it might use a little oil, but that thing will run forever. And you have less breakdowns, parts is cheaper." He was trying to convince me to go Freightliner. I've always been a more of a Caterpillar, Cummins type of guy, but Detroits are awesome too. But that right there, I think is just, the old guys are always going to tell you, think ahead, like you just said, know your
Yeah.
numbers, know your equipment, and meticulously think ahead and plan out your plan and be patient.
Yep.
Um, I know you and your dad are kind of in it together. I mean, we don't really know the structure of business partners, who's over, but whatever, dad's in charge. I don't know. But anyway, how do y'all approach decision making? Like, maybe you
Uh,
specifically, like, I know he went out and got the new truck, right? So, and you made a video or a comment or something like, so I had to go get something. I was inspired, right? So you went and got the RG, or y'all went and got the RG, or however it happened. But how do you approach decision making? What makes Hotshot Bennii or dad go, okay, we want to do some shit and we finna go do this. This looks like it's gonna work. And then you sit down and do how do you approach decision making? Like what goes through y'all's head and how do you
um,
get to that point?
so it's funny because like we were just talking about this yesterday. I'm like, Dad, you gotta like sometimes just listen to me when it comes to certain things because I'm hard headed, he's hard headed. But at the same time, can he hold on, let's see if this guy can make this turn. He's about to hit my truck. Boom, he's got it. Um, just the other day, he was so for instance, let's take an example. When he wanted a new truck, that was a decision that we both knew we both had to make together. Um, because the truck that he had prior, that was a whole ordeal with the mechanic maintenance shop that we took it to. Like it was a whole issue where we spent like $15,000 on that we did not need to spend. It was off of a simple main rear seal leak, and we had to spend $14,000, and we didn't trust to take the truck back on the road. That truck's still sitting in my backyard right now, in my dad's backyard. So we were like, "Hey man, look, we're gonna need to get a new truck." So I was like, well, if you're gonna get a new truck, in my head, like I told on the Asian My show, I saw down the line that if he goes back to if he goes back to the hot shot, and I go back to the step deck, is it gonna last? You know. So he was like, okay, you gotta go get a new truck. But with him getting a new truck, I'm like, yo, but both of us gonna be in the step deck doing partials. Is that really gonna be 2 3 years down the line? Because you're gonna take on a whole new big bill, like $90,000 bills that are gonna really work out. So when this decision making comes together, it's always me and him together. It's never always him by himself. Now, if it's small stuff like for instance, he doesn't even know it yet until he knows it. I bought a chair for my truck. You know what I mean? So small stuff like that, like I bought like a $1,200. It's a Bostrom chair. Things like that. Those are decisions that you can make on your own. But when it comes to big purchases like that, we always come to collective as a group as a whole. Me, him, and my girlfriend Jade about okay, does this make sense for us to do right now? So the truck, we both made a decision on that. That took about 4 weeks to make that decision because I had to go look at it. He had to go look at it. I had to drive it. He had to drive it. And then he went up there by himself with the maintenance man, our mechanic, and he had to go look at it. And then I said maintenance man, but mechanic. And then I went up there with the mechanic and looked at it. It was like, okay, let's go with this one. And then the RGN, that was like 6 months, man. I ain't gonna lie, that was a very long time. That was a very
Yeah.
long time. But that was just us collectively together as a group, me and him, you know, we just me and him feed off each other. You know what I mean? There's no he's higher than me, I'm higher than him. It's like, hey son, what do you think is better? Hey dad, what do you think is better? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it seems like y'all kind of have agreed to come together as a unit and just be like, look, we gonna bounce ideas off each other grow this thing and to what it needs to be. You know, maybe the son's got the social media and the online expertise, and he's out here grinding, putting in the work. But the dad also got a good bit of the patience mindset, the old school thought. And that's one thing I love. I seen him out here. He ain't afraid to come. It was something I seen. I think he was going like WOD or something, doing some chain, throwing the bigger chains and stuff, and just kind of, talking or meeting up. And that kind of like insight. He's willing to go look at every little detail of what this really takes before making decisions. And it seems like you do the same thing too. Both of y'all are very meticulous and like, okay, we're going to really look at this and see who's really doing stuff and get an up close personal magnifying glass on it before we jump in. And I like that.
Right.
That's how you stay in the game,
Yep.
So one thing I did want to ask is what, and this side note to that is you say your girl, your wife or whatever went and got or was going to school for like logistics management or something like that. So what, yeah, that's awesome that you guys are going to have that leg of it too, going to build the business. And it looks like y'all really long vision, long-term thinking this thing,
Yeah,
I can see y'all really being
earlier. Go back to what you said earlier. Sorry to cut you off. Was when you talk to those guys who got hundreds of trucks, you ask them how did they get there. It's all about time. Who knows what 10 to 15 years from now, when my girlfriend is finally fully got her foot in project management and she's in some type of, let's say they're building a new Google building or something, you know what I mean? They need trucks to haul some of the equipment. I
right.
got the company, you know what I mean? 10 years from now, I should have more than 20, 30 trucks underneath my belt, 10, 15 years from now. So
Yeah.
we do think long term. We definitely do think long term.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's why the inspiration there. Plus, y'all show the downs, the ups, everything in the middle, the whole 9 yards. You know what I mean? Could you recommend any books, podcasts, people you follow, look up to that that really got you into that mindset? It don't have to be trucking specific, but stuff that puts you in a motivational state of mind, stuff that really get you going, and that you would recommend to people to do the same. I know you said you kind of came out of a depression at some point, but and trucking helped you through that. But do you follow certain people or influences, celebrities, whatever, that kind of put you in that mindset to do business and do better in life and build a business and career?
I got something for everybody who watches this, and maybe even you. So I listened to 50 Cent when he wrote his book. It was
Bro, I hope you read his new book, bro. That's my guy right there, bro.
I haven't. If he has a new book, I haven't read that one. But it was a book that I read about a couple years ago, and he just came out with it. And we read the book, and we also listened to the audible while we are in the truck driving the Hotshot. Me and my dad together. That got me really motivated. And after I read and listened to that book, I say mostly listened to it because I read like the first couple chapters, and then I didn't want to read it no more, like because I was working with my dad. So we said, hey, let's just throw it on the truck and listen to it on the road. So we listened to every single chapter. But after that, I unfollowed and stopped watching every celebrity. Like you can go look at who I follow right now. I don't follow any celebrities. I don't follow any, and it's not saying that they're bad people, nothing like that. I don't follow anybody else like that. Everybody I follow is in the trucking game, in somewhat or some way, or maybe I know them from high school or something like that. Um, but I definitely that's one of my books that I read. We listened to what other podcasts did we listen to every single day? We used to ET. We listened to Eric Thomas. We listened to him a lot in the beginning. And just really, I mean that's it. I haven't done nothing else like with anybody else who's inspirational, motivational. Those are the only things I've done. It's 50 Cent and the ET. I listen to ET probably to this day still sometimes. I listen to all his old stuff every single day. I got it on my Spotify. Every single day in the morning I listen to it. My dad is real big on the gospel. He listens to gospel in the morning. That's his motivation. That's his way of staying motivated. And that's really it, man. I mean, 50 Cent was it. I read that one book and I was sold. And I think
Man, that's almost all you need. That's so funny, bro.
That's really all you need.
We got a lot more in common than you think, man. That dude right there has been like ever since I heard Get Rich or Die Trying, I've been hooked on that my whole life, man. But there's something about 50 that and people don't understand 50 at all. I mean, I guess his fans do, maybe. But if you really go like look into who he is as a person and like that, if you haven't read he has actually several books. But one of his books, so I don't know, there's a book called The 43 Laws of Power. I actually have it, funny enough, right here. I read this book. If you've never seen this book and you love business, The 43 Laws of Power. It's by Robert Greene. He actually co-wrote a book with 50 Cent. They're real good friends, called The 50th Law. So that's 43 laws of power. 50s is called The 50th Law. But if you know anything about 50, I mean, his diet, the way he approaches business, the way he did the vitamin water deal, the new book, Hustle. If you haven't heard that one, I mean, that book, I've read probably 20 books this year. And I don't not read, but listen to audio. That's what I do when I was in the truck. And the average CEO reads 40 a year or something like that, synopsis of them. So I was like, I got to read more books if I'm going to level up my business, my brand, my life, right? So one of the first ones I picked is 50s because I get bored with stuff, right? Especially business. It's got to be interesting. And he makes it interesting with the feuds that he picks, with the everything that he does is
even
strategic.
The way he speaks, even the way he speaks sometimes, or the way he writes in the books.
Bro,
that's why I picked him.
When he told me, when I started hearing things like he's got the liquor companies, right? But he doesn't drink. Or when he doesn't smoke. One of his favorite songs is High All the Time, right? Or one of his big singles on Get Rich or Die Trying, but he doesn't smoke, never has smoked. Even when around Snoop Dogg, he's like, I had a big party that Tycoon weekend in Atlanta. He said, I took a hit or whatever, but then I went backstage and blew it out because I didn't want to ruin the party. And then talk about eating, like the way he eats and works out and his business acumen, getting up every day at 5 a.m. Just like a lot of stuff that plays into business that a lot of other people do that would never think 50 does,
Right.
And the way he approached the vitamin water deal, they offered him and most people, if they don't know the story, in almost any situation, whether it be like Nike or any endorsement deal, they're willing to pay a celebrity for their time. So when he went there, his entourage wasn't with him. He was by himself and just one person, attorney or whatever. They thought it was really weird. They caught him off guard because of his image, right? And he came real business, real serious. And they were like, okay, well, we're willing to offer you this. We'll give you $150,000 a year or whatever, $1 million a year to endorse the product. He's like, oh no, I don't want no money. I want 50% of everything that we're going to sell. And I want to have ownership in the company. And then we're going to do something and exit it. He already had a plan to sell it to Coca-Cola before it even started. And that's so funny, but just, that book and that person has done a lot for me in my business and my life. And he's just one person of many. Another funny story. So I don't know if you follow me much at all, or do you know who Grant Cardone is by any chance, or 10X, any of that stuff online? White business guy, a billionaire dude out of Miami. If you don't, it's cool. But anyway, he holds these events every year, right? It's called 10X, that everybody goes to, business events, coaching events to get you motivated and all hype. So I've went every year for the last 5-6 years. Vegas, Miami, wherever. His headquarters is in Miami. One year I didn't go. It wasn't last year. It was the year before. And he always has private guests come that he pays, and he doesn't announce who they're going to be, right? And I mean, I've seen Kevin Hart, Floyd Mayweather, Usher. I mean, there's so many that come and not just do a little song or whatever, but they sit down and talk business and personal development and what got them there and mindset. It's really cool. You should look into it. But anyway, the one year I don't effing go and my best friend goes, and I'm talking about, I really do that would probably be, I don't fanboy over anybody, but if I saw 50 in public, I'd be like, yo, 50,
I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way. Like you said,
I don't give a shit about anybody else. I don't get excited, but for some reason, him.
He took me to go see his movie when I was a kid, Get Rich or Die Trying. We didn't tell my mom. Because, of course, a little kid shouldn't be going to watch that anyway. And I remember when I wish I knew it. I wish I kept it then. But back then, I guess certain items were, AMC movie theaters were a little different. And they gave you I had the dog chain. Dog chain after the movie theater. And I don't know where it is now to this day. But I was hooked on that movie ever since. I think that was my first gangster movie I've ever seen. And my dad didn't tell my mom because he loved 50. And I was hooked on 50 Cent ever since then. But I was
dude, that's so funny. I was that goofy white boy in high school rocking G-Unit clothing and the hat and the whole nine, bro. I thought I was just tougher than Tin Man. But anyway, so the year that I didn't go, my best friend went because we go together. And he went anyway. And I was having a rough year. I couldn't afford the ticket. They're about $2,500. They're actually more now. But it's like a 3-day event. Well, the one year I didn't go, and my best friend from here knows that I love 50, right? And they're in a room with about 50 people. It's a VIP event, small event, right? And he's like, our next guest knows about business, knows about killing it, knows about whatever, right? And out comes 50, bro. And he FaceTimes me. He's like, you not coming, bro. I'm sorry. And I was so salty about that. He videoed me the whole time, but he did 35, 40 minutes talking about business and life and coaching and just leveling up and mindset. And then he did 10 songs, bro. And I was like, man, you know what it costs to get 50 to come out? It's $1 million. He won't even do an event for less than $1 million at nightclubs or nowhere.
Right. That's
So
badass, man.
I missed it, man. I was so pissed. I got pictures of it. I screenshot it, and my buddy got pictures with 50. He was fist bumping him on the stage because there was only like 50 people. It was a business event, little tiny
Right.
thing. And a lot of people didn't go to the after party. So it was like just a bunch of old white business dudes, and 50 comes out. It's hilarious. But anyway, funny story. So back onto mindset in this podcast, man, is man, how do you stay motivated doing this stuff? Because I know everybody's I've seen some stuff you went through with the haters and stuff. You had some views and stuff. I've had them too. And there's always somebody talking about somebody online. I don't participate in that stuff. I'm always trying to build people up and help them do better in every aspect of their life. But how do you stay motivated? Especially I've had huge setbacks, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 problems on the road in trucking and with my fleet and business and stuff. And I know we were just talking about it, the struggles, but how do you stay motivated? Like right now, you just had a big L and like we were talking about it before, and you're still rolling, still pushing forward. But how do you, what really, keeps you going, man? What keeps you motivated?
So to go back what you said, I had a big L. You don't care about me talking about numbers, right? You don't care about that, do
Mm-mm.
you? Okay,
Bring it on,
so
man. We love that.
look, so that load, for instance, right? I was freaking out when it happened because one, I mean, I gotta give you story time to really give y'all how I stay motivated. But when it happened, I saw what was gonna happen. I had no service. I couldn't call my girlfriend. I couldn't call my dad. I couldn't call police. I couldn't call anybody. So
Right.
I was out there trying to figure it out myself.
In West Virginia, by the way, for those that don't know, this
And
story happened in West Virginia in the mountains, right?
yeah,
And
West Virginia in the mountains.
there ain't no service out there, man. If you ain't never seen Wrong Turn, does that road go that way?
It's
If you
yeah,
say
it's
it
that
does.
bad. It's that bad, bro. It's that bad. So what happened was there was an accident that happened up the mountain ahead of me. It was a whole other truck that flipped. He was actually coming uphill, and I guess he came around the bend too hard. He had a load of coal, and that coal fell and then went all down the hill until I think into a house. Um, so there was a wrecker coming up the hill behind me, and he was like, "Well, I can't get to him because he's blocking the way." You know what I mean? So he got me and everything like that. They walked me up the hill, and then they walked me back down the hill. And then I'm thinking in my head, I can't call nobody. I don't know who to talk to. I'm panicking because I'm like, dude, this is gonna be like 20, 25, $30,000. I mean, I'm imagining what it's gonna be. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking it's gonna be like $25,000. We get done. They walk me out the mountain. They take me out to the other side. I'm on 119 now. Pull over to the side of the road. We talk business, and he said, "Hey man, I'm a family-owned business." Well, the first because it's two different tow trucks. There's two different tow trucks. So the first guy was like, "Hey man, look, I'm a family-owned business. I see you're a small fleet, and we talked back and forth. I was like, yeah, man, it's just me and my dad. Whoop the whoop. And he said, "Hey man, look, I'm not gonna charge you what I want to charge you. I'm gonna charge you $2,500." I
Right.
said, "Okay, fine, cool." So I paid him, and then the second guy was a much of a bigger company. I'm scared of him because I'm like, he gonna hit me over the head. And to leave everybody to remember, you can't leave until you pay these guys.
Right.
They will take your truck and impound your truck until you pay them.
Ask me how I
Truck and
know
load.
that.
I can imagine. So
Ask me
I
how I know
was
that.
that's what I was so worried about. So the other guy comes up to me. He said, "Man, I'm gonna send all the information over to my boss, and then we're gonna go from there." So I called his boss man, and I said, "Hey man, look, I told him the same story. You know what I mean?" And he was like, "I'm gonna cut you a break, $5,500." So in my head, I was like, "You're still alive," but I'm like, "Hey man, it could have been 13." You know what I mean?
That's what
But
I was gonna say. The number when I saw the video was like, that's gonna be 13 bands. That's 13 to
yeah,
15 right there. Because you're in a
man,
weird predicament. You know what I mean?
weird
It,
predicament. You're out of state. It's in the mountain. And it's probably a small town. I'm thinking all different type of things that can chump up these charges. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But they were really cool guys, man. I'm not gonna lie, really cool guys, and they took care of me. I paid them. They went about their business, and I'm thinking, man, like I'm probably barely gonna break even on this load. So I talked to the broker and whatnot. The broker gets in contact with me, and he ends up giving me, which was already in the plan, but I kind of forgot about it. But was already kind of in our quote because I sat down for so many days. They paid me $1,500 for every single day I sat down. I think I was down for like 8 to 10 days or something like that. So that took care of all of that. and then gave me some on the back end. So I actually came out on that load pretty good. And then the next day, I get a call or email for another silo coming out of South Carolina, which was the day after the whole situation. And then the next day, which is not the next day, but the next couple of days, which is today, I get a phone call from my guy, got a load coming out of Alabama, and it's another silo. So I got two more loads coming up, and I already had some scheduled for November, and two more loads coming up this by the end of this month. So the way I stay motivated to go into it now is I always tell myself that right now you're gonna have a bad moment. If you are currently in that bad moment or that bad experience, all you gotta do is pick your head up and remember that eventually you're gonna get to that good moment. You know what I mean? You just gotta push through. There's nothing you can do. You know what I mean? You can't change how you feel sometimes. If things happen, it's out of your control. There's nothing you can do. And I think I've learned how to master that because sometimes things that happen back at home, I'm on the road. I'm like, I can't do anything. You know, like I can go fly home. You know, now if something's really serious, like my family's being threatened, then I'm gonna do what I gotta do to go home. But if it's something small as like, you know, like my girlfriend's car got broken into or something, or I'm not gonna say that. That's kind of too out because we got a garage. But let's just say my homeboy's car got broken into or something. I can't do nothing about do nothing about that. I can probably give you some money so you can go fix it or whatever, but I can't do nothing. Um, so just me being, you gotta look forward to tomorrow, man. You gotta be blessed and happy for what you have now, appreciate for what you have now, because sometimes it's just you get so caught up in that negative spirit. It's like it's you gotta learn to be positive, man. You gotta learn to be positive. You gotta see the positive in everything. You got to,
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
good,
tough to
man. I think
do, but you got to.
it worked out for you. God is good all the time, man. Because like you said, you came out of that situation sweating bullets, and it was a learning deal for you. You know what I mean? And they really did do
Mm,
good for you. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, in the wintertime on I-80, when you're 100 miles from anything, if you slide off the road, just leave the keys in the truck and walk home. Get a flight. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, they aren't that nice up there when they got to drive 100
nah,
miles in the snow.
they
It's
not.
30 bands, and I'm gonna ask me how I know. And I'm talking about it didn't make you want to cry, call your mama, his mama, everybody you know, and be like, this can't be real. But I'm glad it worked out for you that way, man, because I hate to see stuff like that. And I've been there and I know what it's like. And I want to see y'all succeed, man. I want to see y'all kill it. I want to see y'all blow
Yeah.
this thing up. Misconceptions missed about trucking that you want to debunk or address right now. And I know you talk about them all the time because you're proving, shedding light on Hotshot, the industry, the market. I watched your Asia Mai interview with him talking about, hey man, you know the market ain't that good right now, but you guys are doing it. You know, you're making it work. You're surviving. You and your dad and growing a business. And honestly, if I know you look like you just had a setback right now, but like we just talked about, it worked out. It seems like in a down market, y'all's particular business is doing well. You know, even
Right.
though it's a down market or not so hot or level whatever market. But what are the myths that you would tell anybody right now? You know, what's going on with the industry that you want to debunk? Everybody wants to get into
Um,
it's a heavy haul too. That's another thing I wanted to ask you. What do you think now that you did it? Now that you in it, is it
the
everything you
myth,
thought it was?
it is not everything I thought it was. It is, but it's not. Um, there's a lot of money to be made, a lot of money to be had, as people like to say, but there's a lot of money to spend as well. I mean, it's a buttload of money to spend. Um, I think that a lot of people think that going to heavy haul, that's just, oh, it's just big numbers. You're gonna get a lot of money. Heavy haul is doing just as bad as anybody else right now. That is facts. If you go on the low board right now, heavy haul is just as bad as any other market right now. You may see lows paying $6, $7 a mile, and to you, if you don't know them better, you think if you don't know any better, you think that's good. But that's $6 or $7 a mile is equivalent to your dollar or $2 a mile that you're taking on a flatbed. Because when you take out all the expenses come out. It's the same thing like you guys. So I know a lot of people think, hey, let me go run and go get a trailer like Bennii, or let me go do this. If you don't have the clientele already set up that's separate from the low board, you're not gonna be successful. Another one is, I guess right now that people say there's no money out there. There is money out there. It's not on the low boards. A lot of these lows that I'm not even a lot, all the lows that I'm getting that you see me taking right now for the past 3 months are not on the low boards. I
Say
get
that
these
again
directly
so
from
everybody can hear it. Say it one more time. There's
all
money
the
in the game.
there's money in the game. It's just not on the low boards. All right, that's just facts. And I hate this. I hate to put the low boards down like that because the low boards is what got me to them. Now, don't get me wrong. You could work the low board, find that right broker, get in the door in that right place, and it could change your life. That's what happened to me. I found the right broker, and then I did such a good job for him that he passed me to one of his buddies, and he passed me to his buddy, and he passed me to his buddies. Now I'm in like a whole circle of like 5, 6 different dudes. Pause. But like, I'm in a whole circle and whatnot, and um, they're just passing me lows. They're just passing me lows. Literally. I mean, I don't know if it's they like me. I don't know if I think I'm just doing a good job. Honestly, like I'm just genuine and humble with them, and just really cool with them. I haven't had any issues. I haven't damaged anything yet. I just think that they're just really dealing with me. But at the same time, I think that I've been paying attention that a lot of these guys don't want to put the loads on the load board no more because of the crazy double brokering that's going on right now.
Yeah, it's
If you if
crazy
you
for real.
if you put a load on the load board that costs $40,000 to move, and a double broker takes it and then gives it to a company that needs it really bad for, let's say, $15,000, and they take it because they don't know no better, and then that double broker takes all that money away, and then that, let's say, that truck that took that load for 15,000 doesn't know the expenses, and hypothetically, like in my situation, they couldn't pay that bill for that tow bill, and now that tow company has your load on somebody else's trailer that you don't even freaking know. So a lot of these bigger companies are not putting stuff on the low board anymore because they don't want to deal with double brokers. It's going straight to the carriers that they trust.
Yeah, yeah, that's that, dude. 100%, 100%. I'm glad you said that because everybody wants to get into it and they see these big numbers, especially guys that have access to the low boards, and they think that's where it comes from. And you're looking, at 6, 8, 9, $10 mile loads, but they have no idea what comes out of it, what goes in it.
Yep.
And another thing I want to ask you, you know, the thing with heavy haul is, and this is what I tell everybody, they don't give you that money. Anything that you do that's specialized, anything that takes a different kind of service, different type of credentials, that makes a lot of money. I don't care what you in. Nobody gets a lot of money for nothing. And heavy haul should be every bit of the name that it says, and it's a whole different ballgame, man. It's strapping it down, chaining it down. I see you doing the escorts and the pilot cars and the bucket trucks, all the stuff that we do, and getting the permits and everything. So you earn every nickel of that money, do you not? It ain't
Every
it ain't
nickel.
Hotshot, baby. So when I seen you jump into that, I was like, oh, okay, all right. He gonna
Yeah.
bite onto this and see what's up. He's gonna roll with the
It,
big
it,
dogs
it,
tonight.
it
And
takes it takes a lot of courage to really say, hey, look, this is what I'm gonna do, because my first load, like I told on the Age of My show, I just tell people in general, my first load on the RGN was a baby forklift. It was one of the forklifts. I got one of them tall booms, and it
yeah,
can't go any other trailer but an RGN. That was my first load. My second load, I said, hey man, look, I'm not gonna buy this trailer and not utilize this trailer for what I bought it for. My second load, I bought that not bought, but I got that what's it called, the excavator with the reach arm, with the big
yeah.
old reach arm. That was my first big load, 65,000 pounds. I said, let's go. It took me 4 hours to chain that thing down because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. You know what I mean? And
Right.
then somebody came up and told me. He literally said, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want to sound racist here or nothing like that, because it's not. I'm just telling you the truth. You are the only young black brother I've seen out here. Everybody I see out here is an old white dude. I've
Hey, that
never
ain't no
seen.
lie. You really
That's not a
that's not
lie.
that. Hey, I've been around RGN for a minute, loading up with these places, and I drive RGN for a long time, man. And I don't drive anymore. I'm in the office, but that he's not lying about that. I mean, the ATS trucks, the some of the Landstar guys, stuff like that. Yeah, there's some young brothers doing it there, but on an owner operator level, there ain't a lot of them, man. There really
Nope.
ain't. And it's
It's
and
not.
honestly, it ain't a lot of young guys at all. It's a
Nope.
lot of old guys, and they're getting out of it
Yep.
because they're like, I ain't hauling it for this bullshit,
Yep.
this
Yep.
money. So it is what it is. You know what? I want to touch on these two subjects. And I got something funny to say. I'll come back to it. But how do you manage work life balance, man? We talked about everything else, but what does Bennii do on the off times, man? I know you got the girl or the wife, whatever, and I see you riding, doing some donuts in the cars and the four wheelers and stuff. But how do you manage? It seems like you and your dad grinding, man, all the time, grinding 24/7.
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So how do you
When
manage
you
work life balance?
when you love what you do, it doesn't really feel like I have to actually put time into managing it. It's just like when I go home, and whatever it really is, whatever my girlfriend wants to do when I go home. She wants to go out to eat dinner, we go out to eat. I try to. My rule is when I come home, my first day home, I need 24 hours. 24 hours. You don't tell me what to do. You don't
Right.
tell me to clean. You don't tell me to do. I do whatever I want to do for the first 24 hours. After the 24 hours, then it goes back to like I'm always home. Which is like if I see something, I pick it up. Of course, I clean, but it's like you don't nag me or make me do this, or I have to go to a party, or I have to go out to eat, stuff like that. So when I come home, she gives me that 24 hours, and then after that, if I'm home longer than that, we can do whatever, family stuff, out to dinner. I love going to the movies. That's one of my favorite things, going to the movies. I got an ATV, so I can ride my ATV. Um, Me and my boy, he likes going fishing. He got a range of his buddies that he takes me to. We go to the range. I just do everyday life, man. Everyday life when I go home. Really,
Hell
that's all that
yeah.
it is. I try not to stay home too much because if you stay home too long, you spend too much money.
That's
So
true. Hey man, you
yeah, you
ain't
spend
lying
too
there.
much money.
I got kids, and that's the thing. I used to go out and stay out 5 weeks, but then come home and spend three, four, five, six bands going to Disney World and this and that with the
Exactly,
kids. Because you gone so long, you want to show that love and be like, hey, this is how I do is with the hard money I
exactly,
earn.
exactly.
But
You should
yeah,
be swiping your car. Swiping your car.
like the car, go out to dinner every night, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you're like, man, I work hard for my money. I like nice things. I work hard. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Uh, One of the last things, man, we'll hop off here. I know you got something to do. Is what advice would you give someone considering getting into the trucking industry right now? I know you said there's still money in the industry. It's a fallacy that it ain't. Everybody's talking about going broke. But what somebody's coming in, they're asking Hotshot Bennii, hey man, what would you tell me? I'm about to go buy a truck. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do that. Do you think I should do it or not?
I'm not gonna tell you yes or no if you should do it. That's completely up to you. I'm gonna say do the research and crunch the numbers. See what you can do. If you feel like you can come out here and really do it, then so be it. I would say do a trial run. If you got your CDL and you want to go work for a company right quick, go work for a company right quick and go do a trial run. Because if you come out here and drop, my trailer costs $140,000, right? Brand spanking new. Right now I got it for 125, but brand spanking new is $140,000. If you add all the bells and whistles and all the like the slide out outriggers and all the other stuff, the price keeps going up. So if you want to do what I do, you're gonna spend $140,000 on your trailer, and then you're gonna probably spend anywhere between 60 to maybe 120, depending on the type of truck that you get, the nicer the truck that you get. All that money that you're spending, are you going to be able to go on the road and be on the road for a couple weeks at a time? I'm not going to say months. I'm going to say realistically a couple weeks at a time. Um, is this something you really want to do? Do you want to be away from your family? Do you have kids? Are you willing to be away from your little 8-year old if you got to go out there on the road and be away for 2 weeks? Do a trial run, work for a company, and see if this is really what you want to do. After that, you'll get your answer. I don't have to tell you yes or no. I can't. I'm not going to sit and tell nobody not to come out here because, like I just said, somebody may come out here and do really, really good. The next person may come out here and do really, really bad. It's what you make it. You know what I mean? It really is what you make. Because there's a lot of guys with DMing right now. They got RGNs and they're not really doing that hot. And I wish I could help them out because it hurts me. It's like they're asking me, where am I getting to work? I'm like, I got it from Truck Stop. You know what I mean? I got it from Truck Stop. But it's really up to you, man. At the end of the day, man or girl, it's up to you on what you do. Just do a trial run, do some research, and figure out if this is really right for you because it ain't for everybody. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. I say that. I wrote it in my book, The Whole Nine, is don't go buy no equipment. Get in this work for somebody else for a little bit. Get your stripes on their dollar and see if you even like this shit. Because most people, the statistics is 3 years they get out of it and they don't even like it. So being
Yep.
on the road, man, for everybody. I love it. I love being on the road. I love being in a
Oh
truck.
yeah.
I'd rather be in a truck than in the office, but I got family and kids, little kids, man. I just can't. It don't
Yeah, I
work.
love it.
So but I love traveling, man. I've been to all 48, man, and Canada and this and that, man. I got to tweak the passport, all that, done it all. I mean, I showed a lot of stuff when I last went out on some big shit, going all over Cali and Washington here and there on some big excavators and big loads. But I couldn't have said it better myself, man. So, but that's pretty much everything I got, man. If you got anything to add, I'd love to see a couple of things. One, I'd love to have your dad on here. Let's do this again. Do another
Yeah, I want to do
powwow,
it again
man.
when I'm actually home, man. If I'm home, let's do it again when I'm home.
For real, man. If you talking fishing, shooting guns, riding foolers, man, I got a place out here. You come out to the ranch, man. I got a couple center console boats. We'll go out on the boat. I live by the ocean, so we can go out fishing, man. We can shoot some guns out here, ride wheelers, all that good stuff, man. Same old stuff, man.
Oh yeah, I
But
would love that.
yeah, we'll definitely have to link up and make it happen. But one of the things I was gonna say, man, I thought would be funny as hell is I'd love to see you. And if you ain't gonna do it, I'll send it to you, man. But if you ain't named your truck yet, you ought to put "Get Rich or Die Trying" on the back of it, man.
Get rich or die trying. Now
Yeah.
my truck name is nothing new. That's my truck.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Nothing
that's
new.
my
All
truck
right.
name. Nothing new.
Yeah.
So the whole theme is gonna be. I want to keep it original. It's gonna look really good because actually, in the next couple weeks, once I finish that next one, the next couple loads, I'm taking my truck down to Florida to get it done. So I might come check you out when I come down there. So
Yeah, hit
my
me
whole
up,
my
man.
whole
Fort
interior is
Myers.
getting done.
Yeah, holler at your boy. I know y'all was coming out here to see Wad and stuff. He actually hit me up. I feel bad because he drove literally right down my road, but I didn't have my notification set up on Instagram. And he hit me up. He was like, "Yo, man, I'm in." Because I told him, I was like, "Yo, you come through Fort Myers, let me know." Because he lives on the East Coast. I live on the West
Uh,
Coast, 2 hours away. And he was over here dropping a load off. And he was like, "Yo, I'm in Fort Myers," but I didn't see the message till in the evening because I didn't have my
oh
notification
man,
set up. I was like, "Damn, bro." But I was
yeah.
like, "We gonna link up again."
Well, I got your number because I'm definitely gonna tap in. Because I think that's gonna be an all day trip because
Yeah,
they're in Tampa. I'm deciding if I'm gonna take my dad's truck and bring my RG in, and then drop my truck off, and then just try to find a load to come back up so that way I can make some money and feel good about it. Or I
yeah.
might just drive my truck down there and have my girlfriend follow me in my truck. I don't know yet. So,
But whatever y'all do,
yeah,
man, let me know. I'll drive up to Tampa. That's an hour and like 20 minutes from my house. So I'll
okay,
roll out there, man. We'll get some dinner. We'll talk it up, chop it up. Maybe we can do dad on here and talk trucking again, man, and get
yeah,
into
yeah,
it. So this was good,
you'll
man.
like
We
it.
had to do one again.
Yeah, man, that was dope. That was dope.
Yeah, for sure, man. The people got to see the real Bennii, got to answer some real questions, man. We didn't really get into the whole just setback in West Virginia. There's other videos about that. I just wanted to see the man, the myth, the legend, and see how he feels about trucking in this heavy haul game and the Hotshot game, and what he would tell some people about motivating you. Very inspirational person, man. I love watching the content. You and your dad. I want to see y'all do well. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing big things.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Appreciate it. We're going to catch you on the next one. Tell them where they can find you, even though it's at the end. I might put it at the front.
Hotshot Bennii. That's HOTSHOTBENNII. That's every single platform: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever you have, it's up there. Two N's, two eyes.
All right.
Hotshot
What's the
Bennii.
name of the company if anybody's looking for you to hire you to get some work done, man? Get something shipped.
181 Transport. Our site will be up. It's 181logistics.net. So
All right.
181logistics.net, and our actual trucking company is 181 Transport.
All right. Awesome. So hire them, man. If y'all need something move, y'all need something happening, holler at them, or you want to work on with a lease on with them, hire, whatever, hit them up, man. So, hey, one last question. You think dad's going to get into heavy haul? You think he's going to get the big RGN? The hint? No, yes.
When I take my truck and I drop it off to get it done to get it custom, he's gonna come. I'm gonna come with him in his truck, and we're gonna run the RGN together so I can get some good footage. And he said he wants to learn how to do it. I don't know, man. He's scared of stuff like that, man. He's
Hey,
scared.
hey, that's what I'm saying. It ain't for everybody, but when I seen you do it, and I know how old are you again?
26.
26. So we got a little bit of a gap. We almost 10 years apart. And I didn't step into that shit until, man, I was probably like 30, 31 before I got in the heavy haul game. And I'm not afraid of anything. But I've run equipment and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So to see you at 26, just man, throw your hat in the ring because you think you box. You boxing now, man, and you hold your
Yeah,
own. You're doing good. I love it.
trying to. I'm trying to, man. I'm trying
Hey,
to.
young and getting it, man. All right, man. Wait, thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it so much. And I'm gonna post this stuff up on to be on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, everywhere. We'll probably do some small snippets on TikTok here and there. I can also send it to you if you want something. And
Yeah.
let me know, man. Let's do it again. And let me know if you need anything. All right.
All right, man.
Thanks, bro.